Boys and girls, welcome. This is Mr. Brooks's YouTube channel where I solve your homework for you. And all you have to do is follow along. So this is our first homework, Chapter 1 Fair Game Review. Simplify the expression. Explain each step. So on number 1, I'm going to work it out on paper over here. You can work it out right on your homework. 2 plus, and then in parentheses, 5 plus y. Well, hopefully you remember we can only combine like terms. This is a y term. These are constants. And when we're adding, everything's addition here, we can regroup. We don't have to add these two first. We can actually move those parentheses here. This is called the associative property of addition. So 2 plus 5 is 7 plus y, and actually that's the answer. I can't simplify it any more than that because these are unlike terms. Now, 7 plus y is a correct answer. Y plus 7 is a little better because we put our variable terms first and we end with our constant to be in the right form. Number 2. Same kind of problem, c plus 1 plus 9, where the c plus 1 are in parentheses. And we just move those parentheses again using the associative property to make this 1 plus 9 over on the side. And that becomes c plus 10. This time the variable is already first, so that's nice. Remember that c actually means 1c. When we don't have the coefficient out front, that's the number in front of the variable, that's an automatic 1. So this is 1c plus 10, but we don't have to put the 1. Number 3, 2.3 plus n plus 1.4. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually switch the 1.4 and the n, or actually I'm going to move these two, that way my variable will be first when I'm all done. The 2.3 and the n here, because of the commutative property of addition, I can turn these around. We know that, for instance, 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3 give us the same answer. So all I did was use the commutative property of addition by switching these two around. And now I'm going to use the associative property of addition and move those parentheses, regroup these over here. And I'll end with n plus 3.7. Number 4, 7 plus d plus 5. And we can use the commutative property to switch these around. Then the associative property. And that'll give us 12 plus d. We can't combine these because they're unlike terms. D plus 12 is a little more conventional. Number 5, 10 times 7t. Well, we also have the commutative and associative property of multiplication. So really what this problem is 10 times 7 times t. And we're going to multiply the 10 by the 7. So 10, I'll put a dot here for multiplication, times 7. We don't need a dot in here because when a coefficient is right next to the variable, it's understood to be multiplication, but we can't just have two numbers next to each other or else that would look like 107, and we really want it to be 10 times 7. I'll put the t outside here now. So all I did was use the associative property of multiplication by moving those parentheses over and regrouping these two. That'll get a 70t. We can't do anything more than that. 70t. If somebody came in and told us what t was actually worth, for instance, t is 2, then we could multiply 70 times 2 and totally simplify this, but we don't know what t is, it's just a variable. Number 6, 8 times 4k. Again, associative property of multiplication. We'll move those parentheses right over here. And 32k. Now this is just one term, it's a k term. So up here we put the d term first and ended with a constant. Here, this is just one term. I am not going to put the k out front, k32, although technically it would be right because it would just mean k times 32, and we know that 32 times k and k times 32 would give us the same answer, but we put the coefficient and then the variable. It's just one term, okay? Oops. Number 7, 13 times 0 times p. Well, 13 times 0 is 0, so now I have 0 times p, and anything times 0 is 0, so our answer is going to be 0. Not 0p, just 0. Number 8, 7 times z times 0 for the same reason. I mean, we could multiply this out, that'd be 7z times 0, but anything times 0 is 0. Number 9. On number 9, 2.5 times w times 1. Well, 2.5 times w is 2.5w, and times 1. Anything times 1 is just itself. That's the identity property of multiplication. So 2.5w is your answer. Number 10. 1 times, x times 19. I can multiply these in any order. I don't really have to move things around, but I am going to. 1 times, I'm going to switch these two, and I can do that because of the commutative property of multiplication. 1 times 19 is 19. 19 times x is 19x. Number 11. T plus 3 plus 0. Well, t plus 3 is just t plus 3 because I can't combine unlike terms, and adding 0 does nothing. So our answer here is just t plus 3. And finally, number 12, 0 plus g plus 4. Adding 0 to anything doesn't change it. This is useless. So it's just g plus 4. I can't combine unlike terms. So we're all done here. And if you want, you can always do your homework on lined paper like this. It's easier to keep it nice and neat like this. You can also do your homework right on here. If you do, make sure that it is nicely and neatly done on the paper. Lined paper makes it easier for me, might make it easier for you, just a personal choice there. Have an awesome night.